Hey, this is Matt once again. What about to another video? This is another paid request, this time from Steve from Retro Analog Entertainment. Thank you very much. Really cool name. Seems like a very nice guy. I really do appreciate it. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, randomness, out of the blueness, commentaries, reactions, reviews, lists, rankings, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the episode, the first one of Strange New Worlds, which is the new Star Trek show from Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman. Now, long story short about Star Trek, I guess you would call myself a casual fan, meaning I'm not the most knowledgeable on it. I do like the old show. This is the old set, and I have a red and blue one, which is season 2 and 3. It opens up like this. These are not the ones that have the remastered versions. These are just the original versions. But I do like the show. Maybe because I like the actors, I like the cast. Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelly as Kurt Spock McCoy. The other cast members, James Doohan, Nichelle Nichols, among others. I do like that cast. I even like the cartoon, which we have here. Next Generation, I've seen some episodes, it seems fine, but that cast just doesn't do it for me as much as the original. Same with like Deep Space Nine, Voyager. It's come to realize it's not that I'm a fan of Star Trek, I'm a fan of that cast. I like the first 6 movies. You know, I would say it'd be 4, 1, 3, 6, 2, then 5. And I like all 6 of them, even 5 with its flaws. But then I hear about this new Star Trek. I've seen enough clips, enough reviews, enough pieces of info where Star Trek Discovery, which is nicknamed STD, and Picard seem like absolute trash. Absolute trash, ridiculous notions, heavy on the politics. And yeah, there's stuff in these shows too. I mean, for example, this show had an episode where there's 2 aliens. One is black here but white here. One's black here and white here. You wouldn't call that subtle, but that was a take on racism. But at the same time, it just fit. I liked the story, I liked the way the cast handled it, and I just liked that episode. And not every episode was like that either. Now, with the Strange New Worlds, apparently they were going to go back to, this type of show and all this and that. And I'm like, this sounds like nostalgia baiting. That's what it sounds like. And to be honest, I watch this and people say, oh my god, Star Trek is finally back. And I go, well, I guess I'm not that guy. Because I didn't like this. I didn't like this episode. I didn't like this pilot. And whether it be the way people talked, whether it be the way the show looks, and the cinematography just didn't do it for me. And there's not as many lens flares as J.J. Abrams films, which I'm not a fan of the J.J. Abrams films. There's not as many. It's always weird that you have a prequel that looks more technological than the original show. I don't even know if it's supposed to be this timeline or the J.J. Abrams timeline. I don't even know which timeline it is. So it shows how gung-ho I am about new Star Trek nowadays. But in the beginning, they made it seem as if it's humans in first contact. It's not. It's aliens, and they see a UFO. But it was a starship. And our main character is Pike. The guy who's at the beginning of this show. The guy who's in the menagerie, the cage. And then they're like, hey, this isn't going to work out. Let's change some things, including getting Captain Kirk in there, William Shatner, which was a better choice, in my opinion. Now, Anson Mount, which he's the guy that got his head blown up in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness in such a stupid way. Because Reed Richards said, hey, I know I'm the smartest man alive, But I'm going to tell you, the bad guy, that his weak point is his mouth. Gee, thanks for telling me. Now I know what to do to tell him. Smartest man alive? Multiverse of man is Jesus. Anyway, don't get me started on that again. But this Pike is in Montana. It's a prequel to that. I guess he was all on Star Trek Discovery, and some magic jewel made him see the future, that he's going to die. And he keeps talking about how he's going to die, and talks to Spock about what happens if you just see your death. And he keeps seeing in reflections him being burned. And I'm like, number one, I thought he didn't die. Did he not die? I mean, I thought he didn't die. I thought he was just burned up, which no one wants that. And then he retired. But he didn't die. He got burned up. But they keep saying about how he died. I mean, he didn't die. He got burned up and retired. And then lived many years and then died. So, I don't know. But they kept going on about how when this happens he's going to die. Also, I'm thinking, well, okay, you know the future. Why don't you change it? You can't change the future? Why can you not change the future? They've done that many times on Star Trek. I know. I've seen episodes. I've seen movies. Or at least you can change the past, so I think you can change the future as well. So, I know he has this big old thing where I don't want to be a captain anymore because I've seen this future. Okay, well, you have a good, clear point of what the hell happens. Don't do it. Don't do that. But I mean, whatever. Anson Mount doesn't seem too bad as Pike. I didn't mind his acting. He was like one of the only ones I didn't mind. Because I look at the rest of the crew and I go, okay, he's in Montana. This was a good looking shot. It was in the middle of the snow, nice landscape of the snow, and that looked beautiful. That was the last time I'd say it looked beautiful. Because everything else just looks, I don't know, if it's the filter, I don't know if it's the cinematography of all these modern shows, but just, I don't know, they don't do anything for me. And he takes the job again because his number one, which is Rebecca Romijn, without the Stamos. Rebecca Romijn was Mystique in the original X-Men movies. She's gone missing, so they need to find her. So he gets back on the starship again, and you have Spock. This Spock sucks. This Spock, his voice sounds so like, hello there, my name is Spock. I'm like, what the fuck is this voice? Like, it's like a babyface Spock. It's like, hello there. I'm going to give you the dulcet sounds of KGRB in Cincinnati. And we see Spock with T'Pring, and then they're getting ready to fuck. So much for the fun part. And why does Spock come off as such a beta bitch? Is that just me? Was he like that? I guess he was on STD, Star Trek Discovery. Why does he come off as a beta bitch? If someone can answer me that, because he's with T'Pring, he gets a call, and then Anson Mount as Pike going, Spock, are you naked? And the woman, T'Pring, says, he was about to be. And then, this is his job. You gotta say yes to it. But then she goes, that should be a query. I am sorry. Do not make a habit of it. Okay, lady. Make sure you put the leash and collar on him before he leaves, too. Fucking hell. And then when he gets on there, I care for the loss of my sister. And I had to sit there for a second. When the hell did Spock have a sister? When the fuck did that happen? Oh, but the Michael Burnett, what the hell her name is on Star Trek Discovery, that's Spock's sister. If you're wondering when the hell did Spock have a sister, I thought so too. Spock has a sister, yeah. Okay. And Kurt's a lesbian. What the fuck are you talking about? And then they get on the crew. There's a young Uhura. Nurse Chapel is among the crew, who has this weird attitude that she looks like she's ready to either be on Romy Michelle's high school reunion or pop bubblegum out of her mouth. I'm like, that's Nurse Chapel? Okay. Oh, and the first officer, since the one is missing, the new first officer is a descendant of Khan. You know, Khan, Space Seed, and, you know, to descendant of Khan. Because her last name is Noonien Seen, and it's like, okay. I mean, you would think in Space Seed and Star Trek 2 that maybe that could come into play. Hey, we have someone in in Starfleet who's related to you, who's a descendant to you. But no, it just we have a descendant of Khan. Why? Nostalgia? Baiting? Hey, you remember Noonien Scene, huh? Does that sound familiar? It's Khan! Descendant of Khan! Teen fucking Khan. And then, like, so many characters that just wallow in pity or fear, or they have some sad, sap storyline in their past. Great. Isn't this supposed to be like, hey, the fun Star Trek? When? And of course, like, the first thing Spock does is wrong. Because they go to this planet and Spock's like, oh no, they're not going to shoot at us. And the lady Noonien Scene's like, yes, they are going to shoot. We need the shields up, Captain. So he listens to her, and Spock is wrong, because Spock is a beta bitch. Spock is a bitch, and he's back in heat. So it's about time. He was in heat. So after Spock was wrong, they go down the planet, and there's a war between two. And this does seem just nothing new. It seems like it's something I've seen that I saw 10 times on this show. Two factions going to war. And one of the things they bring up for, like, Pike talks about Earth and the trials and tribulations of Earth. They bring up the January 6th, the insurrection, when people ran up and they were mad that Trump wasn't going to get re-elected, and which was a stupid thing to do. Just like I think the riots on the flip side were a stupid thing to do, which I hate getting into politics, but they keep making me do it. I think both sides were wrong. I think the politics that burned down a lot of cities because of George Floyd were wrong, because people got hurt and killed, including innocent people. I think that was wrong. And I think what happened with that was wrong as well. The White House, I think both were wrong. But they'll use that as a point to, this is how Civil War Part 2 began, and then World War 3. And I'm like, how did that hold up for you? Since person around is Joe Biden, and the guy can barely talk. You barely talk. He's a fucking idiot. So, like, why even put that in the goddamn show? Crying out loud. It's funny, you think, like, I don't know, 9/11 would have been more of a thing to mention. But hey, what do I know? And so many times it's like the calling Noonien Scene, the number one. And so many times she, like, tries to take charge. Like, no, Captain, this is what we should do. And no, Captain, we should do that. And even like on comms, and she's like, no, that should. I'm like, what? Kirk would smack the shit out of her. You know, it's like, yeah, you're insubordination. You're going to the bridge. This is a military, like, this is officer, the Navy, the Army, the Marines. Like, that's how they acted on the show. Is that they were still officers, they were still... Starfleet was like the Navy, the Marine. But no one wants to act that way. People think this is a bumblefuck. I could yell at the captain anytime I want. I'm like, no, you can't. You can't in the military, that's part of the thing about this. But seems like at least Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman forgot about that. And like Nurse Chapel's attitude was all weird. Like, man, she was ready to... Surprised she wasn't played by Alicia Silverstone. And then it's one of those things where they go down, they have this thing where they inject something into their skin so that their face changes that way. I'm like, huh. That's weird. That was never on this show. They would just do disguises. And wouldn't that work better? Just do makeup? Have they forgotten in the future how to do makeup? Because one of the things they talk about is Spock. Well, it doesn't really work with your DNA the best. So there may be a time when it screws up and you'll be in danger. And I'm like, is there no advanced makeup that you put on someone? I mean, we got makeup today. How about in the future? Is there like a super duper version of makeup that doesn't melt that you could put on? Apparently not. You have to inject someone and literally change your face. Instead of like a high form of prosthetics. Which, again, they didn't have on this fucking thing what they had in this. But whatever. Ultimately... when they throw a little bit of action, it's clumsy, it's kind of shaky, it's not exciting. And then pretty much, in a way, I guess they get caught, or they make themselves get caught, and, okay, let's talk to these people. Because they find Rebecca Romijn, they're ready to leave, then Pike goes, you know what, we need to fix this, because they got a warp bomb, and if we don't fix it, because this is, in a way, our fault, so let's go do some shit. And then they talk to each other. And again, in Noonan's scene, like, she has a sad backstory. This whole thing with Pike, he keeps seeing reflections of his burnt face on stuff. Everyone has a sad story. And show footage of the thing with Trump. So tired of hearing about that shit. I really am. I was so weird that the Enterprise, they had the Enterprise go down over the city. And I guess, again, this shows my limited knowledge of Star Trek. Would the Enterprise or any ship be able to do that? Just, you're in space and just go down into the planet and hover over a city? Would you be able to do that? I thought that was the whole point why in Star Trek they had the shuttles. You know, the shuttles? Or you beam down, but then I remember there were episodes where they were in the shuttle and they used the shuttlecraft to go down. If they don't want to beam down to the planet, they use a shuttle. Here, the entire fucking ship. I'm like, well, I guess in Star Trek 4 they did. So I guess, yeah, they have. Star Trek 4 they landed. That's why he said, remember where we parked. So I guess they can. I guess, so that's not a big deal. I had to think about that out loud. So yeah, Star Trek, I mean, it wasn't there. It was the Birds of Prey, but if that ship's able to do it, the Enterprise can. Okay. I just wanted to just looked weird. It just sitting there over the city. I don't know. That's just me. So yeah, they can do that. They give a speech. Anson Mount gives a speech. I didn't care. and then everything's fine. And they really fucking chud this thing along where the aliens are making like little symbols of the Enterprise and all this other stuff. I'm going in slow motion with how important this is, and it's like fucking up its own ass. And then, oh, Kirk is coming, Lieutenant Kirk, and it's Samuel, Kirk's brother. And again, this whole time I'm thinking, wait a minute, I don't remember Pike dying. I thought he was just burned and he retired. Spock seems like a beta bitch. Noonien Scene seems like just a bossy bitch. Rebecca Romijn didn't get much of head one way or another with her. The effects, I mean, for a show, it's fine. The humor, the way people talk modern. I think I misheard. I thought someone said like a dick measuring contest, but I think I misheard it. But I do remember that was one of the things in Picard. Pure fucking hubris. It's like, we're edgy now, because Star Trek need to be edgy. This is what people are praising? If this is what people are praising, then Star Trek is dead. Because I didn't want to see... This is bullshit. I thought this pilot, this thing sucked. Sucked as much as my lighting. So... yeah, it sucked as much as my lighting. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Wasn't really big on the show. And if you liked it, that's cool. Just not for me. I just stick with the old show. So thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.